Okay, look. Okay, look. I said I was gonna make one final video about it. I hope this is the last time I have to address this. Yeah, we're definitely gonna talk about it today. How I formulated the thoughts about Shanks being a clone of Joy Boy, why I think Shanks is a clone of Joy Boy, what I think was going on at the time. I'm gonna lay it all out there, okay? I'm gonna lay it all out there and we're gonna be done with it. For now, at least. For now. So, bear with me as we go into this Gomu Gomu no Reach. It all started back for me and Wano Kuni when we saw this panel right here. Roger and Rayleigh holding a baby Momonosuke and Hiyori. I haven't spent time with a baby in ages. Momonosuke and Hiyori, eh? Reminds me of the old days. What? When did these two have a baby? On a ship? And for some reason, I don't know if it was the bonsai pack I was smoking. I don't know. But I just began to peel through the veil of a madman. And the ideas that started just pouring into me, pouring out of my brain. I just couldn't, I didn't even have time to jot them down. But it all made me think of this scene right here. Roger, confidently knowing Garp would take care of Ace. Why would he do that? It made me jump to God Valley. It made me understand how important God Valley was. And I did, hold on, let me look at y'all real quick. I gotta keep it quiet because people are sleeping. People are sleeping. And I'm up trying to explain. Bro, when I did my mathematicals, Shanks would be 1. These are all thoughts that I was having at least 2 years ago. We were in the midst of a flashback. Everything began to come together like cheekage on a Saturday night at a script club. Not a strip club, a script club.
We make it clap.
Again, Roger asked his rival, not his enemy, but his rival, to look after his child and protect his child. This is on the back, now that we know, this is on the back of the hope of his child growing up to find the One Piece. Like, why would he be confident that Garp would facilitate the growth and maturity of a child that is supposed to overthrow the government? Why would he want his rival to protect a child that's going to grow up and find something that the government doesn't want anybody to find? Step 1. God Valley is the event that made Garp the man who he is, right? It made him the hero. Garp doesn't like talking about it because pirates helped him. And so, not just any pirates, his rival. And because his rival helped him, he hates speaking about God Valley. So we are left to figure out what God Valley is. Given the information that we have in the world of One Piece, I say we look at events that took place during God Valley and events that took place after God Valley. During God Valley, we know that Big Mom gives the Fish Shinomi to Kaido. After God Valley, we know that the lineage factor is discovered. I already understand that it's a lot of years between the lineage factor being discovered and God Valley, but the simple fact that the lineage factor was discovered in such a short time by Vegapunk leads me to believe that God Valley was a laboratory that Rox and his crew did a raid on. It would appear that the first thing that comes out of making or discovering the lineage factor rather would be clones. It wasn't devil fruits, It wasn't anything else. The first thing that came out of discovering lineage factor was Germa 66 cloning humans. Also, that being said, we do have to discuss the possibility that Vegapunk more than likely was a member of the Rocks Pirates.
That's right, I said it.
Not gonna hold you. I know that's a reach, but hey, that's why we call it Gomu Gomu no reach. That's why we here. That's what we do. So let me land this thing. Let me build and let me land. That's all I'm asking. About 5 more minutes. Give me 5 more minutes. Let's go. So you're probably like, okay, Young, that's a very far-fetched thought. Why would Shanks be the clone of Joy Boy? How would they get the DNA for it? Why would God Valley be a research lab? I'm gonna just leave that right there. We finally have an answer to why this seemingly immortal being has a giant straw hat frozen in a vault, hidden in a section of a kingdom that nobody knows about. Now we have an answer to why that panel exists. Now we have a reason to why there's a hat frozen in a vault. They were using it for cloning. There's something else to be said about him being possibly a clone of Joy Boy. It lies in the new Pacifista. It lies in the new Seraphim. These things have the capability to fight using what Oda is hinting at as genetic memory. Think about that. Genetic memory. And it goes even further to say that I think that Vegapunk is actually waiting for the Seraphim to mature so that they possibly have access to Haki using genetic memory. I'm gonna just say this. Luffy learned Haki from who and where? Zoro learned Haki from who and where? If you think Kuma ain't got Haki, you got another thing coming. Jinbei clearly has exhibited Haki. So when it comes down to it, all the Seraphim that we know of and have seen so far, we haven't seen a Gecko Mori one, but all the Seraphim that we've seen so far have the potential to mature, grow up, and use Haki, which is why Vegapunk more than likely didn't want Frankie using that beam on them just yet. They weren't ready to have a beam. And that's another thing that we need to talk about. It's the fact that Frankie made that beam from the blueprints that he found back in Vegapunk's hometown that Vegapunk made when he was a kid. He didn't have the means or the funds to make the beam then, and Lord knows how Frankie somehow managed to make that, I'm gonna just call it a particle beam or whatever. How did he do that, bro? Frankie is amazing. Like, y'all don't get that bro, give super. Give him the credit he deserves, bro. Again, I bring in the fact that the Seraphim have been using not just martial arts, not just fisherman karate, not just baby Mihawk slashing things as though he's grown Mihawk. He's doing this without devil fruits. That's just him using his sword. That's just him not using Haki. That's just an example of what Mihawk can do. Okay, I'm starting to preach a little bit. Let me rein it in a little bit. Let me rein it in because I'm going a little long-winded. But my point being, you get what I'm saying though, right? You get what I'm saying? Like, you feel me? Like, am I tripping? Or is this about to be like, they really could be the strongest things on the ocean, but at the same time that they're doing all this genetic martial arts, jujitsu, they are also able to pull off using devil fruits. Like, y'all don't get how far it goes. It's not the fact that he's just putting devil fruits in them. It's the fact that they are knowing how to use the devil fruits to the maximum capabilities. And we haven't been able to awaken them yet. So imagine if he finds a way. Like, Jinbei doesn't have a devil fruit, but baby Jinbei somehow knows how to perfectly use the fish no mi, which is also the perfect devil fruit. So it makes me also wonder and ask the question. And I ask you to leave this in the comments. Does baby Mihawk have a devil fruit? And if so, which devil fruit is it? So when I see this panel, and I see a young Joy Boy, my bad, when I see a young Shanks crying after asking a question that we don't know what he asked, we only see his reaction to the response that he gets, and he breaks down. So, ladies and gentlemen, here I am in post-edit, right? Going hard, realizing that I actually have the capabilities of editing and making good content. And I realized that my microphone gets disconnected halfway through me explaining that panel and what it means to me for this theory. So, to sum it all up, seeing this panel right here, it signifies for me that when they got to Laugh Tale, something possibly triggered for genetic memory to happen for Shanks. Him, upon then realizing that he is Joy Boy, asks Roger whatever he asks Roger, and Roger's response made him cry, indicating to me that he probably asked something like, did I fail my task, is it too late, or something like that. The answer, regardless, led to tears, whether they were tears of joy that the world could still be saved, or whether there were tears of sorrow that he failed his task, he failed Fisherman Island, Zunisha's still wandering the freaking earth after 800 plus years, bro. Come on, man. Like, yeah, I can see my man crying for a hard reason. Whatever the case may be, it led Shanks down the path of finding the devil fruit that he used to own. The devil fruit that would allow him again to be Sun God Nika. But the thing is that Zoans tend to have a will of their own because Zoans are made from living things. We're gonna dive into that theory one day too, about the different types of devil fruits, what they mean, where they come from, possibly things of that nature. But for the most part right now, we need to understand that Zoans have a will of their own. And what would be the will of the Sun God Nika fruit if not to find the person that is the freest or has the most potential to be the freest? Which makes sense why it would seek out Shanks, or it makes sense why it would seek out Shanks in order to find Luffy. Shanks' time has passed. And upon Luffy eating that devil fruit, it was like Shanks realized, like, okay, the future is no longer in my hands. I was the past, this kid is the present. The whole theme of One Piece has always been about passing on a will, passing on something to the next generation. That's what makes One Piece so dope for an old dude like me. Like, I'm not that old, but I ain't no spring chicken either. That being said, One Piece teaches a dude like me how to pass on my will to, like, my kids, how to pass on my will to, like, my nieces and nephews, how to help them find a drive within themselves. All that emotional stuff aside, here we go. To get back to the point of the video, my point is that after the death of Roger, Shanks spent the majority of his time building and finding his crew, conquering the ocean, finding this devil fruit, only for this devil fruit to have a will of his own and find somebody else more suited, more fitted for this time and this era to bring about the will of Sun God Nika, which is ultimately freedom. Okay, I believe that's all. There you have it. A post-edit wrap-up finish because microphones disconnect sometimes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have some stuff in there about the signature of hockeys and what that means, and the fact that Film Red actually showed that there is a real signature to hockey because, spoilers, but they could tell who was who just from their hockey. So yeah, there tends to be a thing going on where people with hockey can sense who that person is if they've encountered them before. Alright, last but not least, for real. Everything being said about what I think God Valley was, I do also think that the reason it's hinted about celestial dragons and their slaves, like there seems to be an emphasis on and their slaves, which is why some people think that Shanks was a child of slaves of the celestial dragons, and some people think that he was a child of the celestial dragons. I would like to bring in the fact that Sabo's family seems to be adopting kids and making them celestial dragons somehow. So that could be a thing for one, so he could technically just be a random kid. For two, although I still stand on the side of thinking that they genetically created him in a lab, I would also like to say that I do think that one of the slaves that were there was probably a child Marshall D. Teach. And the thing is that I don't even think that he was a D. I think he was just Marshall Teach. I think he was just a child being studied from being from the north where the people don't sleep. As well as just the world government experimenting on kids to begin with. They do that. I also think that if Marshall D. Teach was a child slave at God Valley, then Rock's more than likely, this is going to be the biggest reach. If Vegapunk is a former member of Rock's, and was at God Valley, then upon the so-called death of Brox D. Zebek, if Blackbeard was there also, listen to me now, if Blackbeard was there also as a child, I could see Vegapunk using the science that he stole at God Valley to place the consciousness of Brox D. Zebek in Marshall Teach, making him Marshall D. Teach, which is why he doesn't exhibit a lot of traits of a D. This has been Gomu Gomu no Reach, man. It's been a lovely pleasure, and yeah, again, I'm gonna get back to reading now that I'm done with this, and get back to voice acting, doing my thing. Y'all take care of yourselves and each other. For real. Take care of yourselves and each other. I love you all. This has been fun. And y'all have a great day or good night. Take care. Love you.